In 2015, love itself went on trial in America. The nation's highest court, the Supreme Court, was asked a profound question. Do same-sex couples have the fundamental right to marry? The answer to this question would not just be a legal decision. It would redefine the landscape of love, family, and equality for millions of people across the country. This is the story of Obergefell v. Hodges, a case that didn't just change laws, but changed lives. Our story begins not in a courtroom, but with a love story. Meet Jim Obergefell and John Arthur, a couple from Cincinnati, Ohio. They had been together for over 2 decades, sharing a life filled with love, commitment, and partnership. But their life together was shadowed by a heartbreaking reality. John was terminally ill with a progressive neurodegenerative disease. As his health declined, they had one simple, final wish: to be legally recognized as husbands before he passed away. The problem was, their home state of Ohio didn't recognize same-sex marriage. So, in July 2013, they made a difficult journey. They chartered a special medical jet and flew to Maryland, one of the states where same-sex marriage was legal. On the tarmac of the Baltimore airport, inside that plane, they exchanged vows. It was a beautiful, poignant moment, a testament to their enduring love. But their victory was short-lived. When they returned to Ohio, they were once again just 2 single men in the eyes of the law. John's health continued to worsen. The couple faced a new, deeply personal legal battle. When John died, his Ohio death certificate would list him as unmarried, and it wouldn't name Jim as his surviving spouse. For Jim, this wasn't just a matter of paperwork. It was an erasure of their 20-year relationship. It was a denial of his dignity and the sanctity of their final promise to each other. He felt it was a profound disrespect to John's memory. So, Jim decided to fight. He filed a lawsuit. His initial goal was simple and deeply personal: to be listed as the surviving spouse on John's death certificate. He argued that Ohio's refusal to recognize their valid out-of-state marriage was unconstitutional. He wasn't just fighting for a name on a piece of paper. He was fighting for the recognition of their love and commitment. He was fighting for his right to be treated with the same dignity and respect as any other grieving spouse. Little did he know, his personal fight for dignity was about to become the epicenter of a nationwide battle for civil rights. Jim's case was not an isolated one. Across the United States, similar legal battles were being fought in states like Michigan, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Dozens of same-sex couples, each with their own unique stories of love, family, and discrimination, were challenging their state's bans on same-sex marriage. These weren't abstract legal arguments. They were stories of parents who couldn't both be on their child's birth certificate, of partners denied hospital visitation rights, of families denied the basic legal and financial protections that marriage provides. These separate lawsuits eventually converged and made their way up through the court system, landing on the steps of the highest court in the land, the United States Supreme Court. The central question the Jesuses had to answer was this: do state bans on same-sex marriage violate the U.S. Constitution? The conflict was intense, and the country was divided. On one side, opponents of same-sex marriage argued that the institution had for millennia been defined as a union between one man and one woman. They believed that states had the right to maintain this traditional definition and that it was a matter for voters and state legislatures to decide, not federal courts. They argued that changing the definition of marriage would undermine a foundational societal institution. On the other side, supporters of marriage equality made a powerful constitutional argument. They pointed to the 14th Amendment, which guarantees equal protection of the laws to all citizens. How could a state, they asked, offer the profound legal, social, and financial benefits of marriage to one group of people while denying it to another, based solely on whom they love? They argued that this was a clear case of discrimination, denying same-sex couples their fundamental rights and their very dignity. For them, this wasn't about redefining marriage. It was about honoring its core principles of love, commitment, and family for everyone. On April 28, 2015, the Supreme Court heard the oral arguments. The atmosphere was electric. Lawyers for the plaintiffs, representing couples like Jim Obergefell, painted a picture of real families seeking equal treatment. They spoke of love, commitment, and the desire for the same legal protections their neighbors took for granted. Mary Bonato, one of the lawyers for the plaintiffs, argued that denying marriage keeps gay people as a class apart. It is the ultimate statement of inferiority. The Just CSAs wrestled with the arguments. Justice Anthony Kennedy, often seen as the swing vote, seemed particularly focused on the concept of dignity. He questioned whether the state could deny a group of people a status that is so central to human identity and social order. He noted that marriage has evolved over time and that the petitioners were not seeking to devalue marriage, but to find fulfillment within it. The nation held its breath. The fate of marriage equality for an entire country rested on the decision of 9 for the couples involved, and for millions more watching, the wait was agonizing. This was more than just a legal case. It was about their families, their futures, and their place in American society. Then, on June 26, 2015, the decision came down. In a landmark 5-4 ruling, the Supreme Court of the United States declared that same-sex marriage was a constitutional right. The majority opinion, written by Justice Anthony Kennedy, was not just a dry legal document. It was a powerful and moving affirmation of love and equality. Justice Kennedy wrote, "No union is more profound than marriage, for it embodies the highest ideals of love, fidelity, devotion, sacrifice, and family. In forming a marital union, two people become something greater than once they were." He continued, directly addressing the plaintiffs. Their hope is not to be condemned to live in loneliness, excluded from one of civilization's oldest institutions. They ask for equal dignity in the eyes of the law. The Constitution grants them that right. With those words, same-sex marriage became the law of the land in all 50 states. The aftermath was immediate and joyous. Celebrations erupted across the country. Crowds gathered in front of the Supreme Court, waving rainbow flags and cheering. The White House was lit up in the colors of the rainbow, in a powerful symbol of the historic moment. For so many people, it felt like the nation was finally living up to its promise of liberty and justice for all. It was a victory not just for marriage, but for civil rights and human dignity. Jim Obergefell, the man whose personal quest for recognition started it all, stood on the steps of the Supreme Court and became the face of this historic victory. His fight, born from love and loss, had culminated in a triumph for millions. He had honored his promise to his late husband, John, in the most profound way imaginable. Their love story was no longer just their own. It was now etched into the legal fabric of the United States. The case of Obergefell v. Hodges serves as a powerful reminder that law is not just about abstract principles. It's about people. It's about our relationships, our families, and our fundamental desire for dignity and respect. It shows that change is possible, and that the fight for a more perfect union is an ongoing journey. It was a case about love, equality, and the enduring promise that freedom and justice truly belong to everyone. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in more stories about the landmark cases that have shaped our world, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Famous Legal Cases. We'll see you in the next one.